After President Joe Biden authorized the U.S. military to shoot down a series of unidentified airborne objects over the weekend, the U.S. Air Force general overseeing North American airspace said on Sunday he's not ruling out aliens or any other explanation yet. During a briefing call with reporters, General Glen VanHerck was asked whether he had ruled out an extraterrestrial origin for the three flying objects.
I'll let the intel community and the counterintelligence community figure that out. I haven't ruled out anything at this point. We continue to assess every threat or potential threat unknown that approaches North America with the attempt to identify it.
VanHerck's comments came after a U.S. F-16 fighter jet shot down an octagonal-shaped object earlier on Sunday over Lake Huron on the U.S.-Canada border. And Saturday, Canada authorized the U.S. Air Force to shoot down a cylindrical object flying over northwest Canada, according to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who said on Sunday authorities were still looking to retrieve it.
And analyze the object.
And on Friday, the Pentagon said U.S. forces had downed an unmanned high-altitude object about the size of a small car off the northern coast of Alaska. These objects are coming amid heightened tensions over North American airspace, a week after a U.S. warplane took down a suspected Chinese spy balloon off the coast of South Carolina, though China insists it was a civilian research vessel. But on the Sunday call, VanHerck said the military was unable to immediately determine how the three recent objects were kept aloft or where they were coming from, saying, quote, "We're calling them objects, not balloons, for a reason." Still, while the flying objects remain unidentified, another U.S. defense official, speaking on condition of anonymity, told Reuters the military had seen no evidence suggesting any of the objects in question were of extraterrestrial origin.
Yesterday, NORAD confirmed that an unidentified object entered unlawfully Canadian airspace. It represented a reasonable threat to civilian aircraft. So I gave the order to take it down.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Sunday said investigators are hunting for the wreckage of the mysterious flying object shot down by the U.S. over Yukon territory. The object was spotted by NORAD, or the North American Aerospace Defense Command, and shot down by an American F-22 fighter jet. U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on Sunday told ABC News that national security officials believed the object, as well as the prior one shot down over Alaska on Friday, were both balloons. He added that they were much smaller than the balloon that was shot down off the coast of South Carolina last Saturday, which American officials believe was deployed by China for the purpose of surveillance. China's government has said it was a civilian research vessel that went off course and has condemned its destruction. The White House on Sunday said only that the recently downed objects did not closely resemble the Chinese balloon, but echoed Schumer's description of them as being much smaller. In the meantime, surveillance fears may be making officials jumpy. Twice in 24 hours, U.S. officials closed airspace only to reopen it swiftly. On Sunday, the Federal Aviation Administration briefly closed space above Lake Michigan. On Saturday, the U.S. military scrambled fighter jets in Montana to investigate a radar anomaly there. NORAD later said the pilots did not identify anything corresponding to the radar hits.
Turkey vowed on Sunday to thoroughly investigate anyone thought to be responsible for building collapses due to the country's devastating earthquakes nearly a week ago. The detention of 113 suspects has been ordered, and arrests have already begun. This is the moment police detained the developer of one residential complex that collapsed as he prepared to board a plane at Istanbul airport for Montenegro on Friday evening, according to the Anadolu news agency. There was no immediate information on casualties from the 12-storey complex in Antakya. Anadolu said the man told prosecutors he didn't know why the complex collapsed and that his Montenegro trip was unrelated. Opponents of Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan have accused his government of not enforcing building regulations and of misspending taxes levied after the last major earthquake to make buildings more quake-resistant. Rescuers were still pulling survivors from rubble in both Turkey and Syria on Sunday, but chances of finding people alive are dwindling. The death toll across both countries has now risen above 28,000 and looked set to keep climbing. Drone footage from the Syrian town of Jindaris shows the scale of the destruction there. The disaster hit hardest in the rebel-held northwest, leaving many homeless for a second time after they were displaced by a decade-old civil war. Those seeking shelter in Turkey are now also facing security concerns. 2 German rescue organisations suspended work there on Saturday, citing reports of clashes. One rescue worker said she had seen looters in the city of Antakya, but that her group couldn't intervene because, quote, most of the looters carry knives. Erdogan has warned that anyone caught stealing will be severely punished. The president has acknowledged problems with the relief effort, but says the situation has been brought under control. He's called for solidarity and condemned what he called negative politicking.
Urban warfare in Bakhmut. We see Ukrainian troops from the 93rd Brigade defending this battle-scarred city. They still hold Bakhmut, but there's street fighting now in some areas, and the Russians are gaining ground. The city stands as a symbol of Ukrainian resistance. President Putin has spent months trying to tear it down. Our route is carefully planned. Anything that moves here can be a target. Time to stay low.
Run.
And move fast, single file. But suddenly, just behind us, the war comes closer.
Oh, just there. I think they seen us. They just hit the road.
On our way, a Russian shell landed very close behind us. We have to be very careful about our movements. It's a very clear day here, good weather for Russian drones that will be operating in the skies. The nearest Russian positions are just 2 kilometers away. We're taken below ground to commanders at the heart of the battle, like Ihor, who's resolute but in a tough corner. They are trying to push us, he says, and to encircle us, so we have to leave the city. But it hasn't worked yet. Of course, we have losses, but we are managing and holding on. Above ground, they wait for orders, like the young men before them in wars gone by. They get coordinates for an enemy position and rush to fire a 60mm mortar. The second round doesn't fire, sending the troops and us running for cover.
Everybody go to the cover. Misfire.
They tell us it was old stock sent from abroad. Their other battle here is with lack of ammunition. Then a threat above our heads.
Russian jets. Do you hear it? It's Russian jets. On the attack radius. Fire, fire.
In the city centre, the hallmark of Russia's war. What it seeks to capture, it destroys. We're just hearing constant shelling.
Russian artillery shelling, yes. This is it.
Do you still believe that Ukraine will win?
Yes, absolutely yes.
But how long do you think that might take?
It's a really hard question. We are not high rank in military strategy, but we're trying to do the best to hold the city.
Just around the corner, the latest strike. The Kremlin is stepping up its attacks in the east and south of Ukraine as a grim milestone approaches, the first anniversary of Russia's invasion.